I'm Tim Harris. I'm here with Georgeanne Osmer this afternoon. Georgeanne has some questions for me. I believe most of them concern code enforcements that would affect our cleanliness and overall view of the city. This is, I know, has been a problem, and a lot of people has brought this to our attention, my attention. And Georgeanne, do you have any specific questions you want me to answer?
I do. First of all, I want to thank you for what you have done in the past. As my alderman, you were always available, and there were several specific questions on violations of the code that I called you. And if you couldn't answer me, you looked, researched, and then always got back with me. So I have to say I appreciate the time that you have always given me, and I would assume you're going to give it as the mayor. So one of the first questions I have, you along with your committee have done a lot with the tearing down of abandoned or unsafe buildings and houses and such. And that's all well and good, that's great. But as you look around the city, you're seeing a decline in recent years of the overall appearance. What do you think you can do to help us with that?
There are many options. I think the main goal here is find a plan that works in a direction we need to go and make sure it's something that we can control and enforce. Don't just throw something out there that people are expected to do that without some idea of how that can be accomplished. So we maybe have 1 year plan and review and adjust and go to a 5-year plan. However we set it up, it needs to be consistent. We have a property maintenance code in effect that we've adopted, and it seems to be working, but there are a lot of guidelines which helps us move forward, but it also protects the citizens and give them all the same rights. That's important to me, and that one group, one person, one block, one area of town doesn't get treatment over the other. They all need to cooperate for a universal plan that overall keeps, not only corrects problems, but maintains their property and the problems that existed. And a lot of times there's a lot of different solutions, but they have to be explored and found.
What are the steps when you find violations? What are the steps
Currently,
you're addressing?
Currently we're using, as I said earlier, the codes from 2012 Property Maintenance Manual. That's the first order of business is identify the problem. Second order of business is directly go to the landowner, whoever the responsible party is. Normally it's the owner of the property or a manager assigned to that property, and go to them and explain what the violation is, photograph it, document it, and by documentation you issue a notice of violation. This is not a ticket. It doesn't cost a penny. No money is collected from a notice of violation, but it documents on that date and that time that the city official was aware of a problem existing, and the property owner knows of that problem with that property. If it's not a personal meeting, that needs to be sent by mail. And so there's documentation on both sides. Normally, the problem is such that the ordinance officer can say, I'd like to see progress made, or this situation corrected totally in so many days. If it's 3 days, 10 days, 2 months, whatever the degree of urgency is, so everybody knows it. Then they'll go back and see if progress has been made. If it's been made and corrections have been made, that's the end of the argument. It's over. If not, then probably the next step would be if they need an extension on it, find out what it is. If it's reasonable, grant it. If it's not, the next step is to serve notice that they'll appear in court. And then the judge, we have ordinance court specifically for this, for these type of ordinances. And we have it established right in Beardstown, and people come up and can show their reasons for or against or whatever. They got their day to talk, and it's independent of anybody else. The judge makes the decision, and that's how we do it. And hopefully, most of the time, the majority of the time, it never gets that far. But we need to do it in a uniform fashion and do it the same way, and just be consistent and follow through.
Okay. Economic development is just vital to any community. Do you feel that the appearance of our community has any impact?
It goes hand in hand, totally. A person doesn't want to come here and think about opening up a new business or the existing businesses in a city that appears to be not up to par for what the standards should be. I understand that everything's not ever going to be perfect, but it can be a lot better and consistently cleaner, neater, and better maintained, which gives a better view to people coming in and considering this as a home or a business establishment. Yes, absolutely. It goes hand in hand.
Last question. You know, we get grants. You talk about grants for all different things. Would there be any grant, and I know that we've had it for the infrastructure, but is there anything for the beautification of the town?
Yes, there are grants for different issues, some of them directed towards blighted buildings and tree planting. There's all types of grants, but the problem is we have to be aware of what's out there and have a method of knowledge coming to us, or us aggressively looking for it, to find out, not just in this subject, but all subjects that affect the city. And if there's places that we can get help, we can't sit on our heels and wait for that to come to us. We got to look, and in the meantime, we got to work with what we have. Something as simple as keeping the trash picked up could make a big improvement to a lot of properties, which is not an extremely expensive thing, but it's something that people need to take pride in. As the city gets cleaner, I think there'll be more pride and it'll be easier. Instead of forcing people, I think they'll be eager to cooperate in keeping everything neat and orderly. So there's a lot of ways to do it, but we do have to do it ourselves, and I don't think people are going to come here and offer to do it for us. We have to do it.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I wish you the very best in this run for office.
Thank you.